Mate, what is with all these NRL fantasy podcasts? They all sound the fucking same. Welcome to the Echo Chamber.
Good evening and welcome to TLT for the Echo Chamber, another fantasy podcast. My name's Bryce. I'll be one of your hosts this evening. Joining us also tonight is Jay-Z. How you doing, mate?
Pretty good, man. I had a pretty good week. It was looking a bit shaky for a while there, but Munster came in clutch, so up to 28th overall.
Yeah, the good old 70 from Munster, never in doubt. And joining us also is Eddy. How you doing, mate?
Oh yeah, not too bad. Fitness is going pretty shit, but life's good, you know.
That's the way to do it.
I've got a couple more zeros on, a few more zeros even on top of Jay-Z's rank.
Yeah, I got a couple of extra digits on mine, mate. When you're ranked 25 in the world, you're doing pretty good for yourself, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, just back-to-back great calls from Jay-Z. He's held him up the top there. He just seems to be able to pull him out of nowhere.
Yeah,
We'll get through to the team list pretty quick, but I think we're all pretty locked in on our trades this week. Couchman going down's been pretty solid trade out from everybody that I know. He's four odd weeks. I think he's going to be someone's trade, and we'll talk about him when we get to the game. And then Cleary, whether we're trading Cleary Yo out. So there's a fair bit to talk about. We'll get stuck into the first game on Friday night, the Knights versus the Eels. Big outs is Marzu, obviously. He's gone 4 to 6 weeks, I think. And then Leo Thompson, he's got a HIA. He's not playing this week for the Knights. And then the Eels, we got Bailey Simonson and Charlie Geimer out there. So big in for the, I guess for the Eels is Lomax is back. Going to add a bit of punch coming out of the backfield for them. Big decisions to be made on Jacob Saifidi this week, whether we buy him.
Yeah, there's a couple.
You go.
Sorry, there's a couple of interesting guys in both teams. I mean, I think Eddy and I talked about it last week. There's a lot of fantasy relevant players at the Knights, and certainly Jacob Saifidi, after the last 2 weeks he's put together, looks like a red hot buy at the moment, playing big minutes. In really good form for the club, in spite of the club doing poorly, and obviously with Leo Thompson out, there's even less of a concern over his minutes. So I'm on the fence. I think he's probably a bit too weak of a buy for my team situation, just because I have like an abundance of cash, and I can invest in someone that's just like historically a bit of a better scorer than Saifidi is, and there's a little risk of him playing State of Origin in game one. I wouldn't say it's overly likely, but his form has been that good that he warrants at least to be in the discussion.
Yeah, I don't see the interchange is really good for Saifidi this week as well, right? You've got Thomas Kent and Brody Jones both on the bench who are a bit part mid players at best, right? Mainly.
Yeah, well, Eeyore being out is pretty huge for him, but that's just for the 1 week. Yeah. But I'm pretty sure he'll get another good score this week. I agree with a lot of what Jay-Z said. I considered him last week and this week, and I do think he's a pretty good option. But like Jay-Z said, he's a little bit suboptimal. Like, yeah, he plays in round 12, he plays in round 15, but a lot of the time he scores 30s and low 40s. And is that really the score in the 13 that you're looking for from your middle positions? Maybe not.
I mean, I guess the upside you're looking at is to make some cash while getting decent scores, right? It's a double whammy of making some money plus getting a score.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, that's why he's still a good option.
Yeah.
Like Jay-Z said, they've been talking about his name keeps coming up in Origin discussion, and personally, I can't understand why they would pick him, but I just hate fucking bringing in players that are in the middle of sort of Origin discussions. It makes me feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, I mean, anybody that's had a good couple of games has been Origin discussion, mate. I've seen people talking about Jackson.
That's true.
Purdo getting selected for Queensland, which is just crazy. Like he's a kid that's played 10 games. So
that's That's true. Basically, everyone that's not a Kiwi or a Pommy,
Yeah,
that
anyone
isn't
that's
useless gets included. But
anyone that's ever played a decent game in the last 3 weeks gets their name thrown around. And that's probably how it should be, right? You'd be picking players on form and how they're going in the comp. Jacob's got a break even at 12 this week. Even if he gets, he's gonna make you money. I think he's a pretty safe pick if you need someone for the mid.
I think he'll make 100K. It's just for me, and it's probably a bigger issue for me than some other teams, but I don't really need the money. I kind of need the points.
Yeah.
And for me, it's all about chasing like premium sort of guys, which is why I'm leaning towards Max King. I had a bit of a sus at my round 15 and 18 mids, and like, yes, I think he could fill the round 15 hole that I have, but King fills all 3 buy rounds, and he's playing in a really good side. And with, I think Salmon is out for 10 weeks now, so I don't think the edge players for the Bulldogs are going to end up playing 80 minutes. So theoretically creates more minutes for someone like King, or at least keeps his range of minutes higher than 50, whereas sometimes he can have 40-minute games. So yeah, I like Saifidi. I'm just iffy given like he's not he's averaged 40 once in his career. Every other year's been like high 30s, maybe low 30s some years as well. So he's also somewhat injury prone. He's been injured twice this year already. So I don't mind him. If I was a bit more strapped for cash, I'd buy him. But for me, I'm just trying to maximize points over the buy period. So I'm going to be giving him a miss, but I certainly wouldn't knock anyone for buying him.
Yeah, we'll talk about Max King when we get to his game pretty soon. He's a good shout if you got the money to step up. As you said, he's not going to make you the 100K, but he's definitely going to probably average you more points and potentially just sit in your team post Origin as well. So, but we'll talk about Bulldogs players. Ponga. What would you recommend to do with Ponga at this point if you owned him still?
I mean, you got to hold him. There's one more week, and another sort of weird bit of noise is that Munster might play fullback for the Maroons, and there was some news today that they're thinking of picking Kurt Mann on the bench, and if they're doing that, it leads me to think that there's a chance that Munster plays fullback, Dearden starts at 6, and Kurt Mann is the 14.
That's crazy.
So
that's crazy.
There's a chance, and so this is from Ben Hunt himself. He said that there's a bit of sort of rumor going around that they're heavily considering putting Munster at fullback, and he's played fullback for the Maroons before and done a very good job at it. Like maybe 2 or 3 years ago.
If you were Hammer, if you were Hammer and they're playing Munster at fullback, you're pretty gutted, aren't you? Like, surely they're going to play the Hammer there.
He's almost a victim of his own success. Like he's so good in the centers, and he's just as effective in the center as he is at fullback for the Dolphins. So I don't know why you'd move him from left center. He's just so good in that position.
So you can play both Fermor there?
He scored like 9 tries in 7 Origin games. What, you gonna play Bo Fermor at left center?
100% I am. Let's go.
I'm pretty sure at Origin players are happy to be there, so they don't get so butthurt about what positions they have to play.
That's true.
Like, you won't hear Trell complaining about having to play centre in Origin.
No, exactly right. And I mean, Hammer's played centre for the Dolphins, so I mean, he's clearly a team first guy.
So Ponga, you're gonna recommend people to hold?
Just in case, because if he doesn't play Origin, he's available next week. I'm not saying I'm going to buy him, but you'd almost have to consider it.
Yeah, I want to see.
His price is so low. Like, what are you selling him for? Fucking a pie and a blue V, like.
Yeah, like I want to. If before you consider buying Ponga, you need to see 3 scores above 30, please.
Oh yeah, I'm not buying him.
Yeah, but hold him. Yeah, you've committed now at this point. Bit of sunk cost fallacy in this, but you've committed at this point, right? He has to turn it around. Yeah. He's too good of a player not to.
I think he will. I wouldn't be surprised if Walsh just didn't turn around, but I just feel like Ponga at some stage will turn it around. And his price ain't going to be creeping too much lower than it is now. I know people have been saying that for weeks, but I think that's actually the case now.
It just kept going down and down and down. Everyone's like, oh, hold on, and he's just getting worse. Yeah, it's a tough one. You didn't expect this when you paid $700K for Ponga.
Nah,
At the
not
start
this,
of the
man.
yeah.
Like I said
No.
in the preseason, I told everyone don't buy him. Like every single year, him and basically all the other wing fullbacks would drop on price, but I didn't think it'd be this extreme.
Yeah,
I mean, I was on the other end. I thought he would be the best wing fullback to start the season, and after the first 2 rounds, he was averaging 70, and then all of a
It
sudden,
just never
three
happens.
20s in a row, like just out of nowhere. It's crazy how far he's fallen, and he hasn't scored a try this season. That is absurd for someone as good as Kalen Ponga.
certainly is. How long does Fletcher Hunt have the wing spot?
Until Mars is back, I assume. Oh wait,
I think until we sign Dom Young, yeah.
that's what I was about to say. Unless he turns up earlier than that.
Yeah. So
Yeah, but it does sound like that's hit a bit of a roadblock. The Knights are holding firm on not wanting to overpay for him, and the Roosters are getting a bit antsy about it. Like Trent Robinson blew up at the Knights in the media during the week, but whether he's in the right or not, I think we won't really know. So it's clear that the Knights want to buy him, and they probably will get him this season. It's just, how hard are the Roosters going to hold on until they actually let him go?
do either
So
sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, yeah, I assume you're referring to whether or not Fletcher's a buy.
Yeah.
A winger in a bottom four team that has like 4 weeks of runway is an absolute no-go in my book.
Yeah. Do any of you know anything about him? Like I don't know anything about Fletcher Hunt as a player.
I've heard
No.
he's pretty good, but I mean, I wouldn't touch him. Just like what Eddie said.
Yeah.
Dom Young's on the way, and even like Greg Marzie's only 4 weeks, so he'd need to have some pretty spectacular scores, and he's playing in a team that can't score tries. So he's not for me. Like Greg Marzie scored 2 tries all season on that wing, so unless we just randomly start playing lights out footy, which I mean it's possible against Parramatta, but unlikely.
I just didn't know whether he's a big ball runner like what Marju is. He'll get that 150, 200 meters with 8 tackle breaks. I just don't know about anything about him. A lot of people jumped on KPP last week. They'll be not angry at the 45, but they'll be concerned. Yeah.
They won't be chuffed.
Yeah, it was just this is kind of what he did all last year, like that kind of score, and that. I mean, as well as me not wanting to oversubscribe to Newcastle players, I remembered owning him last year and thinking, man, he's just so average, like half the time. Like he had no offloads this week. Well, he has had no offloads for the last 3 weeks, which is very rare for him. But he is typically this kind of scorer. He doesn't have the massive attacking upside that some back rowers do because he doesn't score tries. He can offload, but he doesn't really assist tries either. So you would be worried, but you're certainly not trading him. Not until
No
round
way.
16, at least.
Yeah. And
Yeah, no, not.
Adam O'Brien's big threat to bring in reserve graders just didn't happen. He had his shot with that, and it just didn't happen. So I probably wouldn't be listening to anything he said about that ever again. Eels. Is there anything else in the Knights relevant? Should just own Lucas at this point.
Yeah, Lucas is still a buy though. If you don't have him, he's definitely still a buy. 100%. I'd be like, Sharp's price is starting to get a little bit high, but I wouldn't talk you out of him either. The DPP might be quite handy come round 15 as well when there's not as many halves.
You're definitely paying a premium for Sharp at this point.
Yeah, it's not a good price, I agree.
But he's averaged 57 over 10 rounds, so like,
yeah.
you can't knock it too much.
No.
He is a try scorer. Like you can't say. I know neither of you have said this, but you can't say like, oh, but he scored so many tries because he's going to score a lot of tries. He's that kind of player. Yeah, and
You've had him for a while.
I know that's a big meme, tries part of his base, but pretty much is with this guy. He's just that good, He's always around the ball.
He's just like Dylan Walker if Dylan Walker was always on form and scored more tries.
Yeah, I think he's a little bit more like Pappenhausen, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think he's just such an elite support player.
Yep.
Like you said, always around the ball. He always he's so quick as well. Like he's just very, very hard to stop from scoring points.
I like watching him, and I do get FOMO not owning him. So, but I'm not paying that money. That's not the route I'm going. I'm going to go someone different, and we'll talk about them a bit later. Anybody in the Eels whatsoever relevant to talk about to buy?
To buy,
Not,
nah.
yeah, maybe not to buy, but I'll say Iongi looks pretty good with Moses back in the team.
Yep.
Obviously Moses won't. Well, I
Hopefully.
doubt Moses will be there in round 12.
Yeah.
But Iongi is more involved. He's got a few try assists, and he was a nightmare knock on away from his first 60 of the year. So a couple of good scores in a row for him. I still have him in my team just because I've refused to trade him, and he looks really good under the high ball last week as well. So he's not that bad of a player. Had a few clangers, but he's really coming along, and hopefully he can put together a few more nice scores for people that have held.
That's why you're ranked 25, mate. You do things like hold Iongi when the rest of us sold. Elephant in the room. Eddy, are you finally going to sell Hopgood, mate?
Thought we weren't talking about that anymore.
Oh, you've got to get it out there, man.
Yeah, I'm finally selling him.
Yeah. It's about time, mate.
I don't have anything more to say about it.
Yeah.
Mate, the way your season's going, he's going to play 70 minutes this week.
I don't have a good justification why I still own him, so let's just move on.
Yeah.
There's one more player we should talk about, I think, and that's Riley Smith. If you haven't got him already, would you be buying him this week?
Nah, the boat's gone now. There's only 4 weeks left until he's a sell. And you're just getting the arse end of it now.
Why is he playing 80 all of a sudden, though?
Yeah, but come around 15, he's not going to be very useful to you anymore.
Yeah, I don't know if he'll play 80 every week. I think that sort of 72 minutes that he played against Cronulla will be more standard. His tackle counts have been massive the last 2 weeks, but he's also looked like he belongs in first grade. While he doesn't have a running game, but he threw a really, really nice pass for Parramatta's first try on the weekend. In saying that, I'm still not confident enough to outright play him every week. Like, I still have Pete the Greek just to loop Riley Smith. And if he scores poorly, I'll trade Pete.
Eels hookers never seem to have running games. I don't know if they're sort of not encouraged to use them or not, but none of the Eels hookers that Hands wasn't much of a runner, Lussick wasn't, Reed wasn't.
None of them are special players, but I will say they have just such dominant halves that just pass them the ball and let Moses and Brown do.
I think that might be sort of the instructions given.
Yeah.
I think that was a big reason why Reed left in the first place, was because him and Moses didn't get along. Because Reed was a bit too dominant on the ball and sometimes would, put a kick in just of his own volition, and Moses didn't love that. So I think Riley Smith's just a tackle bot, and basically every Parramatta hooker will be. So I agree with Eddie. He's probably he does. He's a very good passer, but he'll be a sell sooner rather than later, I think.
Yeah, his owners will be riding him up to around 15. He'll be maxed out in price, and he won't be any more use over the buys, and that's when they'll sell him. So
they've done well, though. They've done well, though.
They've done really well. Yep. Really well.
Riley Smith.
I got him 2 weeks ago. I got him for his 250 scores. So
they've done well. They made some good money.
He's just one of the many players I missed.
Yeah. My list is longer than the people in my team, mate. Players that I missed and fucked up on.
Oh yeah.
So, Greg's obviously a sell. I know we said that already, but just 100% Greg's a sell. We'll just touch on that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you made your money on Greg. Get rid of him. Unless you brought him in a couple of weeks ago, and then ouch, you just done fucked up.
Yeah, I mean, I think my plan was always to sell him after round 15 anyway. So, I mean, with him being out for 4 weeks, there's just no point holding on. Like, he's good, but he's not good enough to warrant holding.
Yeah, just real quick, there is no Thursday game either because of Women's State of Origin. So this first game is on Friday night. You're listening and you're expecting to watch some rugby league. If you're listening to us on Thursday, you're right out of luck unless you're watching the State of Origin.
I would recommend not watching this game because both teams suck at rugby league.
I'm going to watch it.
Women's sports.
We're talking about the Knights Eels, I think. Yeah. But that probably still counts, right?
Yeah, so was I.
Yeah, good one. All right, moving on to the second game. Bulldogs Roosters. So Bulldogs cementing their spot at the top of the ladder, playing really well. Showed up in the second half against the Raiders, against the Roosters, who need to show up for this game.
I think they will actually. Like the Roosters are a bit hit and miss, but they've been far more hit than miss recently. I think they've kind of finally figured out how to attack and use their outside backs.
Well, they've got quality pieces in there.
Yeah, heaps, man. Like Mark Nwanganito-Arce on the wing has been a revelation for them. And like they just have a lot of really good attacking players. For me, Teddy is a buy, but probably not this week so close to Origin.
Yep.
And you could maybe say the same for Kiraz as well. What are your guys' thoughts on those two players?
So the only player that's out in this game from last week is Jermaine Summon. He's been obviously sent to the Shadow Realm for 10 weeks. Teddy is my plan for next week, which is why I'm banking so much money. It just allows me the flexibility to bring him in if he's not named in Origin. And the upgrade from that will probably be Marky Mark, to be honest.
As in you're trading out?
Yeah, trading out Marky Mark and bringing in Teddy.
Yeah, I think, look, one thing to note about Tedesco and the Roosters outside backs is that their next three fixtures are atrocious.
Yeah.
So they got the Bulldogs this week, and then I think they play a full-strength Cronulla in round 12. They have no Origin players unless Cameron McInnes somehow finds his way onto the Blues bench. And I think they have the Raiders. So, look, my personal plan for Tedesco is to buy him in round 15 because we skip the Roosters by, you don't run the risk of having too many players out in round 14, and then you pick him up if he's not named in the Blues for game 2, and he plays the last 2 buys as the best wing fullback in the game, basically.
Yeah. It is definitely an option. It's just I think obviously Teddy's an upgrade on Mark, and if I'm going to be playing Mark in my wing fullback spot, I may as well just spend the money and bring Teddy in. Is my thoughts.
What are their break evens?
Teddy's was about 30 from memory, maybe slightly less, and Mark's is 25.
25, yeah.
Yeah, I can wait a week for sure.
Yeah.
And Jacob Kiraz?
32 on Tedesco. Kiraz looks like the best wing fullback in fantasy at the moment, quite frankly. Like he is just an offloading, tackle-busting machine.
I'm so glad I brought him in.
I was so annoyed that they gave him that try because it was just the most blatant forward pass of all time. And it ended up being like a 20-point play where he was set for a mid-30s score. So my worry with him, because I would buy him, but I think he's a genuine chance at the Origin team. Laurie Daly came out midweek and said, look, Brian To'o and Lomax are pretty much underdone, and Kiraz is in great form, and his centre partner is basically guaranteed to be the Blues right centre. So there's a good chance Kiraz plays Origin. No, his centre partner's Critter, mate.
Oh, does he swap sides, does he?
No, Kiraz and Sherry and Critter have always been on the right.
Oh, hopefully he's just saying that to fire up Lomax, and Lomax can come out and have a big game this week. Lomax definitely needs to have a big game this week, though.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he needs to
better,
prove
because
that
I'm
he's
going to be
100%.
gutted if Krez fucking gets picked. I'll be so gutted. Be another trade that I can't trade out that I can't afford.
Yeah, so there are a lot of relevant fantasy players in both of these teams just because of how good the buy schedule for both teams are. So I'll toss up a few players. So Max King, an outside mega pod, Viliami Kikau, and another pretty big pod, Victor Radley at lock for the Roosters. Maybe we quick fire through these ones, but I wouldn't say I'm all that interested in Kikau, but the other two I do have my eye on.
I've pretty much set on my edge. So
I think everyone is. That's the only thing.
Yeah.
That's why I haven't looked at him. Is that edge is super easy for me at the moment.
And plus, we got a really big boon in the edge this week, right?
Yeah, and plus, if you're getting an edge this week, it's got to be Hosking, right?
Yeah. Midwise. Talk to me about Radley, man, because I'm not convinced he's not just going to go and kill somebody or get a HIA.
Well, he's a high 40 average at lock in his career. He is a pretty good point scorer. Probably the best mid and edge by cover throughout the whole period because he can cover both roles quite easily. And like I said before, I am really short in mids in 15 and 18. And I don't think there are that many appealing options that I want to commit to. So Radley's sort of that budget option who has 100 to 150k upside if things go right for him. But yeah, he
I'll be
obviously has the
fucking
downside.
surprised if he ends up going up by 150, though.
So is
I don't
Victor
know.
now a better buy than Daniel Saifidi in your books?
Jacob
I
Savage.
would
sorry,
say
Jacob.
So.
Yeah, Jacob.
If I had the money, I think the problem is it's an extra 100k on Saifidi. So I would personally say Victor Radley is a better buy. Another downside that a lot of teams have that I don't is that they just have so many Roosters players already. I don't have Wong. I don't have White. I only have Toya and Savala at the moment. So that's why someone like Radley is so appealing to my team. If you have a bunch of Roosters, he's obviously not even an option though.
I prefer White way more than Radley.
So
That's fair.
I feel like Radley's best works behind him.
He's still very young, man. He's like mid to late 20s.
yeah, I think we looked the other day. He's 27 or something like that.
Yeah.
He's
And I still reckon his best is behind him.
He's been around for a minute. That's all.
Yeah, he's been around for ages.
Yeah, footy stats is down right now for me, so I can't exactly bring up anything that I want to look at. So quite true.
He's about a 47 average career-wise at lock.
Yeah.
I can also just recall that every year almost it seems like you listen to podcasts and there'll be a time when it appears like Victor Radley's a good buy, and then the people that end up doing it generally get burnt every single time.
Yeah.
And I think that's more likely to happen than getting the 150k.
I'll just say this though: we didn't think Wong was a buy, and he ended up being huge. So
Wong doesn't have a year-on-year history of doing that like Radley does, though.
Yeah.
I have owned Radley before, and it was actually a good experience. So I'm not quite as scorned as some people might be.
But you are right. Radley's the only a play if you don't have 4 Roosters in your team. Like most people have got at least 3 Roosters in their team right now. So
I'm buying White this week actually.
Yeah. Yeah. So
he's at a pretty reasonable price now, and I'm very certain he's going to like outscore Radley by quite a bit. I think he's going to be huge over this period, especially if 1 or 2 of those Roosters get picked for Origin.
Who would you expect? Watson.
Watson's almost a certainty, I think.
And if one of Leniu and Collins got picked, that'd be good as well. Fuck, both would be amazing.
Spencer's probably a really good shout. Collins, maybe. I just don't think he's played enough football. Like he's been so injury back and forward.
They do love him.
Yeah,
they do love him over there, though, don't they?
Yeah, he's built for Origin though. So
yeah.
Tedesco is obviously a smoky, just being how good he's playing. So maybe even Daniel Tupou for a wing spot. He's done it before. He's done it before.
Cat Dog will be there.
Crikey's
Angus Crichton's definitely in the team. So yeah, you're right. There will be some spaces in this team over the next couple of weeks, but
yeah, because you'd imagine with Crichton out, Radley probably shifts to edge, which should free up more minutes for White. Spencer's not really a big minute eater, neither is Collins, but you could feasibly see 55 to 60 minutes for White throughout the bye period. My only concern would be that they're playing a full strength Cronulla side, so and they're not great for middles.
I'm just going to throw out a name here that I had a sneaky look at, and that's Egan Butcher. Noted that all these players are leaving for Origin and such. Get a couple of good scores. Like once again, you got to have the room for the Rooster player in your team, right? 370k. He's already got his break even down a little bit. No.
I don't see the role. He's a couple games back from an ACL injury.
If you were going to say like 270 or something, sure, but if you're paying 350 plus, you need a guy that's going to have a decent role every week through the period.
Yeah.
If it's like, oh, you're good in this buy, but then he's in a fucking terrible role the following week,
Well,
then his price never gets going anywhere.
he's 2 games back. He's averaged 35.
His PPM's been incredible as well.
Yeah. So he's just the
Yeah,
type of player he is. I just think it's just
Look,
a sneaky one to just think about in the back of your head.
I think there's another player at that almost exact same price point that's more appealing,
Yeah.
and that's Zach Docker Clay, because if Watson's out and plays all 3 games of Origin, I don't know if he's an 80-minute hooker, but he's a big minute hooker.
Well, who else
And he
do
can
they have
score
now?
quite well. Ham
Yeah.
made some quick cash in him earlier this year when
Yeah.
Watson was out. And yeah, that's definitely one you'd wait till next week to do, because if you get him and then now Watson doesn't get fucking named for Origin, then you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah. So the thing with Kira is, I just want to go back just so we can run through him real quick. Kira's price isn't going to go anywhere too quick, is it? Even with his 100, he's
I can't
713.
remember what his break even is.
I think he's got the same break even as Tedesco from memory.
Yeah. So you can wait on both a week, I think.
Yeah.
Max King, if you need someone, good shout.
Yeah, I'm buying Max King. He's not like a sexy buy or anything, but he's a pretty consistent mid scorer. I had him last year as well during the same period.
Yep.
Scored 50s most weeks. He had a couple of games higher and a couple games lower. So
He'll do what's on the package.
Yeah, exactly. He might lose a bit of cash, which is unappealing, but
Fuck all though.
His buy coverage is elite. And I kind of need a premium this week, and none of the other premiums appeal to me. So,
yeah, I like that call.
That's why I'm getting King.
I've got 600k in the bank if I do my current trades. So it is a lot of money, right? So that's definitely something I can look at.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's just how it is.
Would it be fair to assume that you're going to start spending some of that as soon as round 13 rolls around?
Well, not even round 13,
like
round 12. Like it's literally.
Oh, okay, sweet.
Yeah, it's in the next 2 weeks. Upgrade Tamale, upgrade Nawa, maybe Toya.
Oh, that's all good then.
Kit K, like these players that I've got sitting there that made me 150k. That money would be used to upgrade them to potential keepers for the rest of the year.
That's all good, because you've got plans and it's happening soon.
Yeah.
Because some people are quite foolish. Like they don't think things through, and they think, oh, I've got to trade out Cleary because he's got to miss too many games, and I can't have that much sitting on the sidelines. And then they spend the next fucking 5 weeks with fucking 500k in their bank.
Yep.
Not understanding that that's also sitting on the sidelines, and they've achieved nothing apart from burning trades.
Yeah. So my trades this week right now is Couchman, Cleary, and Hubner out, and bringing in Saifidi, Fogarty, and Zach Hosking. That's my trades right now. Whether I spend some money and upgrade Saifidi to someone like a King or maybe a Victor Radley or something.
Yeah, so let me just say on the trading Cleary out, and this is sort of the big thing I ran into because I'm open to it. It's just, what are you actually doing with that money? Like, there aren't that many other very expensive players around that people don't already own. Like maybe Jaden Campbell, but and like we'll talk about him in a bit, but he has the same problem of Tedesco where he plays 3 straight top 4 sides for the next 3 weeks.
Yep.
So yeah, I don't have, like, I can't do anything if I was to trade Cleary. I don't have the money. Like I wouldn't use his money in any meaningful way.
Yeah, we had a quick chat about this on Monday night, and Rude brought up the fact that if Saba's getting 50s right now, and that's who would be playing instead of Fogarty. So I'm not really gaining anything by spending the money to bring in Fogarty. Like, I'm not getting anything from that trade other than just playing Saba. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's
Yeah, but I'm not
6
convinced
points.
Savala is a 50-point player. Like
He'll
the
probably get
last
it this week,
game,
though.
he had 4 goals. That's
Yeah.
the only reason he scored 50 points was because
No, he's not a
Handon
50
got knocked out.
though. He got a 50, but fucking he's not a 50-point player. He also got 30s.
Yeah,
I think he's between 35 to 45 most weeks, unless he has big
Yeah.
attacking plays.
Yeah, I think low 40s.
Yeah. So it's just whether I definitely want to upgrade the mids for the Origin. Just whether I go ICAP or I go Fogarty, or that's probably the only 2 players I can think of. And speaking of
What's
ICAP,
fuck all difference which one of them you get.
yeah, we'll move on to the next game, which is the first game Saturday afternoon, the Wawas versus Dolphins. Should be a pretty good game, hopefully. Dolphins have got no one out this week. No one back either. But Bunty Afoa and both Jackson Ford have been dropped from the Warriors.
Still no Jeremy Marshall King for the Dolphins, so they're
No.
still playing Kurt Donahue at 9. But they're a fun team, man. I really enjoy watching the Dolphins. This should be a good game to watch, and I think everyone's sort of favorite player at the moment, Aaron Clark, another 70-point game from him. Like Fisher Harris is back this week. Does that affect Aaron Clark? Do you guys think?
This is the
No.
catalyst, right? This is where we get to see. But this, honestly, I don't know. This is what we get to see. This is what we get to expect round 12.
It'll probably stop him getting like crazy, like 70-minute games and shit. But nah, this big minute lock is his spot. Fisher Harris is just going to play prop.
Yeah,
I
Fine.
think
expect
he's going to end
55.
up the best hooker in fantasy.
Well, and
Aaron Clark.
yeah, definitely, he already is. In recent times, and also that bench is fantastic for him.
Yeah, I don't think they'll run out with both Healy and Tamari Martin on the
Nah,
bench, though.
as long as one of them is, it's fine because it means that fucking Wade Egan's losing minutes.
Also, side note, and this has nothing to do with anything. How many double-barreled surnames are
All
there
of
in
them,
this
dude.
Warriors team?
They just
There's
said yes.
There is every year.
8 players.
They just said
Crazy.
yes.
It's Maldi's, bro.
Yeah.
Maldi's love a fucking double-barreled name.
They just said yes.
Are we
There's
expecting
so many in
Roger?
our country.
To come into the
Are we
team?
expecting Roger to come in and Capewell to the edge this week?
He played reserve grade last week, didn't he? RTS.
Did he?
Yeah, I believe.
Did he?
I think I read that somewhere that
Did he?
RTS was in reserve grade last week. So potentially.
It's crazy if that's true. I find that hard to
wild.
believe, but if it's true, then wow, that's
Yeah, or
it's
he's
a testament to how good the Warriors are going.
or he was named in reserve grade this week. One of the others, right? It's that he either played reserve grade last week or he's named to play this week.
Yeah, wow, that's unreal.
I guess they just want to get some minutes into him before he comes back. That'd be my
Yeah,
take on that.
that'll certainly be the only reason.
Yeah.
I can't imagine, like, if they didn't. I just couldn't imagine them sending him to fucking reserve grade, like, is being dropped. Like,
No,
that would be
definitely
fucking
not.
crazy to me.
Yeah, there was 3 names someone mentioned somewhere that I don't know, they'll come to me as we go through, but have been named in reserve grade this week. I'm pretty sure RTS was one of them.
I don't think so. I just checked both last week and this week, and he's not in either.
Okay.
So, yeah,
Maybe I'm talking
I did
shit.
have my doubts. So.
Maybe I'm talking shit. So,
But yeah, I think realistically, what will happen if Rogers fit is Capewell edge, Neokore or Halasima to the bench, and Jacob Laban or Sam Healy dropping out.
yeah, so probably Halasima, eh? Because Nikora's looked pretty good. Played pretty well.
I don't know. Halasima's been very good.
So does
lately.
Halasima.
Yeah.
Halasima's been one of our, like, more exciting forwards.
Yeah, maybe just Cape will drops to the bench.
Nah.
Nah, he's too important. I think in terms of a leadership and culture sort of role that Capewell plays.
He's more of that slow and steady, long minute role as opposed to impact off the bench.
Yep.
I don't think Capewell off the bench would be that very effective.
So
I don't think he makes the Origin side this year. Surely.
Kurt Capewell
You'd hope not.
as
Yeah,
what?
Kurt Capewell.
Running the water?
Well, I don't know, man. Anything.
Oh.
He got picked last year, didn't he?
Yeah, he
I
did.
don't think
And he didn't do very well. Mitch Barnett's probably going to go to Origin. He's looked really good again this year, so he's definitely in there.
He's certainly
in the shout.
a strong chance.
Yeah,
I would expect him to play Origin. I think he might even start at prop.
Yeah.
From what they have been talking about, it sounds like there is a strong chance Terrell May will not play game 1.
that's crazy.
That's crazy.
That's so crazy. Fucking hell.
It is. And there's this weird narrative that he is some big minute plotter who can't do a job in a short amount of time, which is just bonkers to me.
Really weird.
Or like fucking like a commentator or something that's saying he won't be, and will be like, because seeing that one game there, he made that one bad defensive decision. I was like, what? Because guys like Jacob Saifiti aren't making any fucking mistakes. Fuck
Yeah.
up.
Stupid, man.
These alternatives are not better. Like,
Yeah. So
fuck up.
I think there'll be a lot of people watching Aaron Clark's minutes and his points this week but he's still a potential buy next week just as a keeper hooker.
Well, yeah, like we said,
Yeah.
he's the best hooker in
Yeah.
fantasy right now.
Right. Just watch this week.
There's a
100%.
big minute lock playing in a position, in a
Yep.
low scoring position. It's the dream. I
Herbie.
imagine most people that intend to buy a Clark fucking must have him already, though.
Yep.
You'd think so, but even if you missed him, I'd maybe
You still
wait till
could.
next week, but I'd buy him.
Yeah, I wouldn't
I
be
wouldn't
getting him
wait.
this week.
If you want to get him next week, get him this week. I agree.
Oh,
I'm
Well,
not
I'd,
worried
I'd
about
rather
points
I'd
at all.
rather sit and watch and see
Yeah.
what Fisher Harris does to.
I agree with Jay Z on this one. If you don't own him, then you obviously don't need him this week because who's out this week that you know what I mean? Like there's no one important out this week.
Couchman, Yo, Cleary.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about hooker. I'm talking about hooker. Like
Oh, right.
no one's running Mitch Kenny, so your hooker's playing this week that you played last week. I think you can afford to wait.
Yeah, true.
Herbie Farmworth just did it again. Fucking is he gonna be a buy?
I think he's been a buy the whole season.
Yeah.
He's just doing things that centers aren't meant to do in terms of fantasy, but also just a phenomenal player in real life. Like, man, he's just so entertaining, so good to watch. Like, he's the best center in the competition outside of maybe Stephen Crichton. So, there are very few centers that have as big of an impact on rugby league games as Herbie Farnworth does.
The biggest.
And this fixture last year was probably the first time I truly fell in love with Herbie,
Yeah.
because I think he scored a double and like 90 points against the Warriors last time they played.
So the biggest difference between Herbie and Steven is that Herbie can actually score fantasy points on a regular
Stevens
basis.
got back-to-back 60s.
Yeah, but 30s every
But
other
yeah,
week.
I get what you're saying.
So, yep.
He just gets the ball so much. He gets the ball more than fucking most fullbacks, and he's a centre. It's crazy. He's just featured that heavily in the attack, and he just busts tackles at will. Fucking
Yep.
Man, for a true centre, fuck, he really is built for fantasy, isn't he?
Yep, I love him. I'm probably
He goes looking for it. Like,
I'm probably
oath
not
he
going to
does.
get him.
anyway.
I'm probably not going to be able to get him, but I love watching him play, and I hope there's some people out there that get to enjoy him. Isaiah Icat, I mentioned him a little bit earlier. He's definitely a buy if he fits your buy schedule.
Yep.
He's probably going to be the second highest scoring half through this next little period. So definitely someone to have. Yeah, really good player.
He's someone
The top
that
scorer.
he's someone that we called out preseason that he could have made the step to the next level. And I think if there weren't so many like elite half options available in round one, he would have been on more people's radars. But man, he's playing good footy at the moment.
And he's just growing into the season. He's just getting better and better each week. He had one learning lesson against the Raiders in last 2 games. He's got over 60s, I think. So, yeah, he's really taken that on.
Halves that make 20 tackles, 400 plus kick meters, and run over 100 meters a game are going to find a way to clock up points.
Yep. I don't think he had any attacking stacks last week, right?
Well, that's what he's added to his game. It's the running game. I don't think he was running for 100 meters a game last year.
No, he wasn't. Hardly any halves do. He's like running like Heinz Cleary sort of meters.
Yeah. So I gotta make my decision whether I go Fogarty or Katoa. I'll figure that out tonight over a couple of beers. It'd probably be Katoa because I like watching him play. To be honest, both fit my buy schedule.
Yeah, but to say whether the round 15 or round 18 buy, whichever's more important to you, sort of the difference maker there, I think.
Yep, that's true.
Because it's hard to split them.
Yep.
Yeah, it's also how many Raiders you have in your team, because I have 4 right now.
That's a question, right?
Tamale's going to be traded, but Fogarty, Hosking, and Tarpanay probably won't be.
Nope. Oh, and if you still got Horse, you know,
I traded him last week, but yeah.
Still got Horse back there.
I am pretty loaded up with Raiders.
Yeah, so I got no Dolphins. So.
I've already got them though. So yeah, I got 4 fucking. Oh wait, do I have? Fuck no, I've got to have 5. Fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Loaded up. I guess that's about it.
Hosking's such a bad fit for my fucking team. Oh,
you gotta have him. We'll talk about him soon, but you've gotta have him. Cowboys, Eagles.
Yeah. I mean, there's only one real talking point in this game, right? Or maybe two. But Jackson Purdue playing 6.
52
Very
reserve
interesting.
grade. Yeah, 52 average in reserve grade with no kicking meters in reserve grade.
It really helps Drinky too. I think
Yep.
Drinky's kick meters are going to be Latrell like as
Yep.
long as this is the halves combo.
But there's no proper kicker in the halves.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
so
Dearden's Dearden's not a fucking first choice fucking general play kicker. It never has been.
we'll have to
No.
see how that goes, right? If that's
Yeah, it has
either-
to help Drinky. It has to.
Yeah. I'm excited, but extremely nervous to be doing this against Manly. Extremely
Yeah,
nervous to
they're
be
going
doing
to
this against
target him.
Manly. Yeah. Yep.
Quite famously in that round 1 game, they just ran at him the whole game and destroyed
Just
him.
send Ola Kawadu in a more game.
Yep.
Yeah, which they're going to do again.
Bateman's got his work cut out for him this week. I'll say that.
I mean, maybe that's part of the thought process, put him next to a back rower that can protect him instead of leaving him out to dry in the centres.
Yeah. Zach Labert's come in as well, which is fantastic.
He's a good player.
Manly don't really have that many threats to send his way apart from Ola Kawatu, though. Like, Ben Trebojevic isn't exactly fucking terror-inspiring, or neither is Gerbo or fucking...
Yeah, but he'll have Olakawatu. That's the thing with
Ola
Manly's
Kawatu-
attack at the moment. It's
Yeah.
just pass the ball to Olakawatu.
Yeah.
Let him go.
Ola
Yeah.
Kawatu will be a bit of a challenge,
And then there'll be.
He looks like one of the...
Go, mate.
He looks like one of the least fun players in the NRL to tackle, possibly the least fun.
I'd run the other way. I think if he ran straight at me, he does look terrible.
A couple of NRL players have done that, mate, back into their own in-goal area. So, yeah.
Lucky Miller, yeah.
Yeah. The other person I'm a little bit worried about actually killing Jackson is Nathan Brown. He's going to have to tackle him a couple of times.
But just taking his head off.
Yeah, just killing him. Like, not injuring him. Just literally, poor Jackson's dead. Elbow or a flying knee or some shit. Look.
I think he'll. I don't think he'll run. I don't think you'll see too much of them interacting.
Let's hope so.
Maybe.
So yeah, excited about Zach Lay, but he's not a buy. He's too expensive. Yeah, but he's going to be good for our team. I don't think there's...
the only other one would be Jazz, right?
Yeah.
Back at hooker.
How depressed are you, mate?
Fuck.
I don't know.
Oh, yeah, but I know Eddy did. Eddie did.
I'm not chuffed. I'm obviously not going to play him this week. I'm fairly concerned.
Especially with Jake on the bench.
He spent some minutes at hooker last week already, so maybe there isn't too much of an actual change to his minutes. But and on the plus side for him, there's been a lot of chat that Jake Trebojevic is going to get picked for the Blues. So.
God, that would help. But fucking, why the fuck? What would be the justification of picking Gerbo? That's rude.
I don't know. They just he did a job last year, even if it was only 20 minutes a game.
Captain on the bench.
And he's the incumbent captain, yeah.
Captain
came on for fucking 5 minutes and didn't dent the line once. Like, it's not really doing
I think he just started the first 20 minutes of every game, and I don't know. He shouldn't be in the team, but from what all the media all the information leaking out of the media is strongly suggesting that he'll be there. And Laurie Daly himself said that he was really good last series. So that gives you sort of.
It's at the point now where he's probably on attack is probably one of the worst middles in the comp.
Well, people used to give Aiden Tolman shit for being a plotter. He's worse than what Aiden Tolman was.
Way worse. Way worse.
Yeah.
Aiden Tolman could at least clock up the meters and fucking bend the line back a little bit. Gerbo's just catch the ball and then get tackled when you get to the defensive line with no post-contact meters every single time. At least Tolman could get the odd fucking post-kick contact meter.
Are you nervous for this game, Brycey?
Yeah, a little bit, man. The neck needs to do something, right? The neck needs to come out and make a statement because he's been playing pretty bad the last couple of weeks. I don't think his position and in the Queensland side's like under question, but
Manly look like they're playing busted to me. Like Trebojevic and Garrick did not look right against Cronulla. They were just like
limping.
waddling around the field. Like,
They don't have the right middles either.
no, the
Well,
middle sucks.
So
Especially with Paseka out for the season, and I think someone else
Yeah,
might be.
they,
Aloe.
Paseka was very, very, very important to their middle.
So they've got a little
100%.
bit of aggression in there that they could bring in if they wanted to in Matthew Lodge and Nathan Brown, right? So they could like the
But
Cowboys.
they're washed.
Yeah, but the Cowboys could be playing with 13 in about 20 minutes.
Lodge has only just come back in reserve grade,
Yeah,
I
he
think.
has.
So
Yeah, he has. He's just been.
I think he'll be in the team, but maybe in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah. No, I think finally we've got a forward bench, like a forward team, like a forward rotation that actually is better than the other team, and we're not going to be relying on Scott Drinkwater and Dearden to do it all for us. So
Yeah,
Dearden's on pretty good form, eh?
yeah, he's doing really well, and it'd be interesting to see now that it's his team to control. Like he doesn't have Clifford there steering the ship. If he can step up,
I think he can steer the ship well, but his kicking game, I don't think he's good. He's going to be subpar in that side of things. But I think when it comes to like just sort of running the plays and stuff, I think he'll be sweet.
so Jackson's kicking game, while it's not amazing, it's not terrible.
Wouldn't surprise me if he had a big boot, because he looks like the kind of player that has a big boot.
Yeah. I don't think his short game's that good, but yeah. We'll see.
Okay, give Drinky all the kick meters.
Yeah, just
I
give it
have
to
him in fantasy
Drinkwater.
anyway.
Yeah, I agree completely. Drink water to the moon, 80 average over the rest of the year. Let's go. I think that's about it for this game. We'll move on to the Shark Storm, and I know Rudley is quaking in his boots after the Storm put on 60 against the Tigers. About this game, Ryan Pappenhausen after his big hundy, he done really well. Any buys in this game?
Probably not. I mean, Hughes is kind of interesting, but I don't think he's 100% still. Like, he's still the first guy to get rested in the team when they're up.
Yep.
And he misses the first two. Well, all the Storm players missed the first two major buys. That sucks.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah, but I don't. So I tossed up the idea of buying Eli Katoa. Just even though he doesn't play the first two buy rounds, he plays all the other sort of middle rounds, and he's pretty good on the edge. Like, I ended up going with Hosking instead, but I mean, I don't hate the idea if your buy cover is sufficient enough going with someone like Katoa, but admittedly I thought that he played 15 and not 18, but he plays 18, so Hosking sort of fills that role. But
I'd
I don't
feel
hate.
better about it from round 13 onwards, so at least one of those buys is out of the way.
Yeah.
Are you holding Munster, AG?
No, but I don't know when I'll trade him. I might. So for me, I'm actually considering trading Cleary in round 15 and not this week.
Okay.
Because
What?
Yeah, because I'll expect him to back up and play 13 and 14. He
Yep.
won't back up in 16. So that really, he misses 2 out of the next 4, but it's not that bad. Whereas he'll miss 3 out of the 4 after that, because Cleary's already come out and said they're not going to back up. So
Against the Warriors, yep.
If you're going to use the trades to get him out and back in again, you may as well take advantage of fucking him not being there in these 2 games either, though.
I don't agree, because then you get his scores in 13 or 14 when no one else has him. And I can't use his money in those rounds anyway. So may as well hold him until then.
I wouldn't count on no one else having him, bro. He's still pretty fucking highly owned.
No, of course, but I think that the consensus is that you should be trading your Penrith players out.
Well, we'll talk about Penrith
basically.
Yep. Talk about Penrith soon.
Some people are doing that.
Yeah. Talk about Penrith soon. We just won't get too off track on the Storm Sharks. Not that there's overly too much here. Is Tig in the... Tig is the other one. So I definitely know Tig has been named reserve grade this week. So he'll be back.
He's in the reserves. Billy Burns had a hell of a game last week.
Yeah. So
hell of a game.
Tig's playing reserve this week, so he'll get some minutes in him, and then he's got a battle on his hand to get his spot back. So, yep, because Billy's playing well.
That's great.
Don't think there's anything really to talk about else. Stefano Tukumanu, chance of going to Origin, definitely. No?
Nah, he's been playing terrible.
No,
He's not.
no chance.
I reckon he's a chance to go personally because he was there last
You're
year.
the first person in the world I've seen mention his name in Origin talks,
'Cause he was-
in the media or otherwise.
He was there last year, and I just got a feeling they're going to be a little bit loyal to the team that did it last year.
Was he
No,
there
he
last
won't be.
year? I thought he was there the year before for like one game.
Not pretty sure he's there game 3. Anyway. Once again,
No, he wasn't.
Nah, he
he
won't be
wasn't.
drunk.
I just checked.
Checked
He
it?
played
No.
game 1, 23.
Okay,
He
point
wasn't
get
there
on.
last year.
Okay. Maybe not then.
Jay-Z's killing you on the
Yeah, he's
You're
destroying me,
on
bro.
fire. You're on
Fucking-
fire here, Bryce.
My brain's back in 2023. And if nothing else for this game that I just fucked up, and we'll move.
Hang on. Britton Nicker is 560k, and he had his first
yeah, but-
decent score without a try.
He's that for a reason.
Yeah, but
Yeah, but Hosking.
he's playing in a full strength Cronulla side. Like I said before, these guys have no Origin players except for maybe Cam McInnes. They are going to destroy sides over the Origin period, and he could be a benefactor from that. So I'm just saying, this is the cheapest Britton Nicker has been in like 5 years. So to just write him off,
I'm not
I
writing
think
him
is
off.
wrong.
I just don't think he's a buy this week.
There's just a better option that we already know about.
Yeah.
Fair. And pod play Kaolero. He's just braining it this year.
Good footy player.
He just picked up where he's left off last year, didn't he?
Except he's actually scoring tries this year.
Yep. Move on to the Broncos Dragons game. Fair bit to talk about in this with Couchy going down and being dropped out.
Yeah. So I'm much more inclined to trade out Toby Couchman than I am Nathan Cleary. And that's because of his shoulder injury. And that's, I mean, he misses a couple of rounds, but if he comes back, he might not be 100%. And he's got a break even close to 80. So reasonably thinking, like, unless you're really short on trades, I wouldn't even consider this. But he is someone that you could buy back in 15 for maybe 30, 40k less.
Yeah. Yep. Don't hate it. You got to have trades though. That's not something you're doing if you. Come on.
It'll probably be more like 15, 20k less because he's actually only going to play one game for a price drop in that time. Unless he comes back and scores a 30, in which case you're not going to want to buy him.
Well, yeah, that's my concern as well. What if he comes back and he's only playing 40 minutes now?
Yeah, he's a trade.
Yep. I think he's going to give a chance to these younger guys too, right? Like LPT on the bench there. He played really well last week. Like he's just going to build into it.
He's their future.
Yep.
They've invested heavily into him. They've held him back a bit to make sure he was properly ready, and so I think he'll have that spot for as long as he is fit.
Yeah.
It makes me think of like basically the only time Haas isn't mean is when he's playing carrying a shoulder injury. It's happened a few times in the past, and every time it's happened, his scoring's just dropped off a cliff for ages, whether he's playing or not. And yeah, I don't know.
I think
it's a trade. What's the point of holding?
So how many trades would you have to not want to trade him out? Are you talking 15, 16 right now?
That's what I've got, bro. I've got 16 trades and I'm still trading him.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'd say anything less than 18 before trades this week, I'd maybe just hold him and suck it up.
Hope for the best,
Nah, fuck that. Fuck that.
Fair enough.
Full send, Eddie. Full send, Eddie.
I'm not gonna have 16 more trades that are more important than a 730k guy being out for fucking at least a month and then coming back possibly injured. He's just a trade.
Yeah. Did you end up buying LKT last week, Daisy?
No, I still don't have him. He's fine. Like, he's not that bad or anything. He ended up hitting a 30, which is fine for a base price guy, but he just doesn't fit my team. I didn't need a cash out at the time.
Yep.
And I don't think he's going to be that good of a scorer. Like, he's going to have some games where he goes bigger, but I also strongly suspect he's going to have some games where he scores like 15, which he looked like he was on track for last week. So this is a danger game for him. Brisbane have a lot of big tackle busting players, especially if Xavier Willison's on the edge. So I'm avoiding him, but you're not trading him or anything. If I wouldn't buy him now as
No.
well if you didn't have him.
I think there's a better player on their bench that you could potentially buy.
It'll be a
Pacific
weird
Tonga.
week to buy
Yeah,
him.
Pacific Tonga, I think, is a much better buy than LKT this week. Because he's,
How many
think
minutes did he play last week?
30.
30, man. And I think he's just going to build
Well, it's not terrible. It's not terrible.
for a basement guy.
It's not. It's not that 20-minute fucking role that's
No.
a lot of rookie props sort of get when they first come in on the bench.
And they got Jack DeBell, Dave Clemmer, and Blake Laurie on the bench. Like,
DeBellin's starting at prop, but yeah, they've got Laurie's a 20-minute player. Luciano's going to play edge. And then Jacob Little and Cook are still just splitting minutes for some reason instead of both of them being on the field at the same time, which is really weird. Cook only played 40 minutes last week. If either of them get injured, they're just red hot buys.
They were the anti-fantasy fucking buys of the year, mate. Both have lost so much money.
Yeah.
I just think our Pacific Tonga is just going to build into this year, and I don't need a cash out this week because, as I said, I got fucking money I can't spend. But if you needed one, that would be my recommendation this week.
Yeah. I also am a bit worried about Dylan Egan. So he was benched in the 1 hour cut before the game last week.
Yep.
And there's a pretty good chance that happens again. He ended up scoring a try and Couchman went down, so he came on earlier than expected. But he's kind of hit his peak. His break-even's small this week, but after this week, you probably expect it to sort of normalize to what he's going to score.
Yep.
I don't hate the idea of jumping off early if you can use that cash in a meaningful way. But yeah, I have my concerns over him.
He's definitely a possible trade out for me next week. Obviously, on a buy. So,
yeah.
See what he does this week before we
Yep.
worry about that.
Yeah, I'm not worried about
As
him
far
this
as we
week.
know, as far as we know, he comes out and busts out another 50 and everything's fucking happy.
Yeah. Brendan Piacora, named on the bench again. If he swaps with Xavier, is he a buy?
You'd be a brave man to do it.
Scoop and B are planning on doing it.
He has the lowest break even in fantasy outside of Hugo Savala.
Yep.
That is, and look, he has looked very good the last 2 weeks. Yep. He played quite well against South. So
as I said,
there were periods last year where he was really good for a couple of weeks too. Fucking problem is all the other games.
Yeah. As I said on Monday.
Yeah, but he's going to make money, right? Like if he gets 3 games and he averages 40, he's going to make 150K very quickly.
He is he's a big balls play. You've got to have some testicular fortitude to do that one, and you got to be watching that 1 hour TLT to make sure it happened. Otherwise, it's full of board. Maybe
it's the time of year to do it though, because of the changes to the buy rounds. If you're buying him, you actually don't need to rely on his score.
Yep.
Because you can just sit him in rounds 13 and 16, because we only have to play 13 players. So there are worth cash cows out there, but I mean, chances are he's going to come out and fucking run into the goalpost or something and be gone by halftime. So
if you're looking
I don't
at
like
him,
my cash cows being that expensive either. I like them to be closer to fucking base price, so you're maximizing how much fucking money you're opening up. When you combine that with his buy schedule, he's not going to be very helpful for you in the buys or anything. I just wouldn't get a cashy this week, to be honest.
And that's fair.
Personally,
I think that we were so flush with cash.
I don't like any of the cashy options.
Yeah, I think we're so flush with cash as well. Do we actually need a cash out? That's the other thing.
Yeah,
we will soon.
Yeah, we will soon, but not this week.
I mean, like I've got a few guys that are sort of in really ugly price ranges, like Tamale and Hubner and Toya. I mean, Toya's he's got a 2 break even thing, so he's 90. But Iongi and Riley Smith, and we've got to start cashing these guys out at some point. So
yeah, I got Noah, Tamale, Kit K. They're all guys that I really want to upgrade.
So the problem is if Piacura is like 350K and you're cashing out a guy that's like 470, it doesn't open up that good amount of cash. I'd just rather wait for the next one, you know. Get someone that's a bit cheaper and I'm a bit more excited about fucking, and that actually opens up a significant amount of fucking cash.
I don't think there's anyone else to talk about in this game.
Hamish Stewart still maybe an option. I mean, the minutes aren't there, but his scores are.
His price was a lot better last week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think you might have missed the boat on Hamish, to be honest.
Yeah, I did. I think me and Jay-Z said last week that if you want to get Hamish Stewart, then go
Yeah.
get him. Don't sit around watching his price keep going
Disappear.
up.
Yeah. Just the fact he doesn't play 12 really sort of ruins that for me.
Yeah, that sort of adds to the, like, if you're going to do it, well, you do it last week rather than wait the week beforehand. And then if you wait another fucking week, then his price is going to be even worse. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
no.
Ezra Mam's getting dropped off to the game week, so good to see him back in the team.
Yeah.
Got that
Okay.
Uber on
So
speed dial.
one other thing to mention in this game: do either of you have any concerns about captaining Payne Haas this week?
No.
Don't have him, so don't give a fuck. That's your problem.
he came off with back tightness early last week, and he did come back on and finish the game, but he didn't
I
look
would
like he
find
was
that
moving
off-putting.
at 100%.
That would be enough to push me on to captaining May if I did have
Yeah.
Haas.
That's exactly how I'm leaning at the moment. I think May is my captain for sure.
But it's
I
Payne
mean,
Haas,
there's
man.
well, it's Terrell May, man. It's the same thing.
This is like the longest Payne Haas has gone without getting injured in the past 3 seasons.
Yeah, I know. I've been waiting for it this whole time and it hasn't happened. Other podcasters might pretend that, oh, you never want players to get hit. Fuck up, cunt.
you and Rudely have been praying.
I'm just one of the only ones that doesn't like to sit there fake ass virtue signaling on podcasts. Everyone's fucking happy when things like that happen that benefit their team.
You and Rudely have been stuffing a fucking pincushion for about 4 weeks now, trying to get Payne Haas injured, mate.
Probably longer than that. Since fucking round
the damage is
bro.
done now.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah. I didn't realize he came off with back soreness.
Yeah, he ended up coming back on the field, so maybe not that big of a concern. Like maybe it was like what happened to Cherry Evans, where he was fine the next week.
Is this the ankle injury thing all over again from the start of the season and ends up fucking absolutely killing it?
But when so little separates the two options, you may as well go with the guy that doesn't have fucking back tightness.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
but
agree.
apparently it's a hamstring issue though. If you want to read the
No, that's fake. Fucking that's the shittest screenshot I've ever seen. They had like spelling errors. It was written, it was worded in a weird way, and then it just randomly claimed that the source was Terrell's dad. Was saying that he's done a hammy, so he's in doubt. What do you mean? If you did a hammy, then you're not in doubt. You're out. And if you didn't do a hammy, then you're not in doubt because you're playing.
Triggered.
Let's not give that much.
Yeah, we're not.
I think.
I'll just sorry.
One of those hammies that fucking has a potential 3-day recovery time. Like, nah, get out of here.
All right, we'll move on. Raiders Titans. As bad as the Titans looked in the second half, they came back in the. How bad as they looked in the first half, they came back in the second half. Now they've got to come up against the Raiders team. They got pumped in the second half.
Yeah, they'll be pissed.
Yep. I'm scared for the Titans in this game.
I agree. Big reason why I'm not buying Jaden Campbell.
Yeah.
Is because, well, okay, so fun fact, Jaden Campbell has played 4 games against the Raiders, and he's finished 1 game, and that was off the interchange bench, and that was for 40 minutes.
And who's killed him each time?
Every other game,
probably Horse.
Probably Hudson Young or Horse.
Yeah.
Pick anyone in that forward pack. They've probably killed. They've taken turns at killing Jaden Campbell. The timing to buy him does not make sense this week, and I think if you're trading him this week, it's a mistake.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good show.
My 2 cents on Jaden Campbell. He also looked a bit underdone against us as well.
Still scored 63.
Kieran Foran at 14.
If he's doing that while underdone.
Kieran Foran at 14. Also, don't know what's going on there. Is Chris Randall still there at 16? Well, Just Jalen DeGroot drop out, Brimson go back to 1. Like,
I think JC will be fine either way.
I know he'll be good at 7, but yeah, just about the rest of the team, how much disruption there is.
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean, I
if
think
he's
it's
got-
just,
they're already disrupted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tamale's still a hold, obviously. You got to play him as long as you can through the bye rounds, probably. Till you can upgrade him to someone that's actually a keeper for the rest of the year.
I mean, you could probably trade him after next week.
Yep, 13, something like that. 14.
He
He's
does
quite
look very
useful to
good.
me at the moment. He's quite useful to me at the moment with that DPP.
Yeah, same.
Part of me wonders.
I'll review it later.
Go.
Sorry. Part of me wonders, like, if you watch that game against the Bulldogs, they just didn't kick to him. They kicked to Savage the whole game, and that really limited what Tamale was able to do.
Yep.
He still ended up with 7 tackle breaks, but he had to go looking for the ball. Whereas the week before, when they played Melbourne, he was taking like 2 hit ups a set because they kicked at him, and then he'd get up and take another run in the same set. So if clubs catch on that he is like the biggest meter eater in that back line and start kicking it away from him, then he could lose a bit of his base.
Yeah. We'll have to just watch that one. Jamal Fogarty, obviously a buy. You know what you're going to get? 55 to 57 from Jamal every single week. Really good player. Really good option. Jason Tarpany, 100% the gun mid to buy over Origin.
Yep.
Yeah. I hated him at
He's
his
certainly
price, but he's just playing too well.
Zach Hosking.
He's probably
Go, mate, sorry.
Tarpany's probably the best captain option in fucking round
12.
12 as well.
Yep.
Yeah, I strongly suspect so.
Zach Hosking. 100%. I think you need to buy him this week. Otherwise, you run the risk of just being completely annihilated by what he can do.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't go that far.
Yeah, it's a
I
bit
think,
dramatic.
No.
I think he's a good option, but there's a chance he doesn't play 80 minutes. There's a very real
Well,
chance
you think
he doesn't play
Sasagi's
80.
going to come on?
Yeah, exactly what they did in round 1 and 2. He didn't
Yeah.
play 80 either of those games with Sasagi.
Yeah.
But yeah, his upside is
Huge.
that of one of the best second rows in the competition.
Yeah.
So
Just do be aware there's negative points about this guy. Like, yes, if he's playing 80 minutes every week and stays healthy, yeah, he'll get heaps of points. But that's a big if with this guy. You got to remember he debuted and he's been around since like fucking 2022, so a few seasons, and he's played like fucking 20 fucking games where he's actually started on the edge and survived. Like, he misses a lot of games for injury, a lot.
Yeah.
yeah,
I just think he's going to just absolutely kill it next month to 6 weeks until that happens. And
Yeah.
if you don't have him, you're going to be regretting it big time. So
It's not like
Yeah.
he's constantly fucking well over 700k. Like, he got up there quick last year because he had those 2 big scores. But
and they
we
like the short ball to that edge.
for best case.
So you think of Hosking with his base and then the tries that Nicholson was getting. But that's what I've got in my head. They love that short ball to that edge.
Yeah, you
he's
do
fine.
seem a bit focused on the best case scenarios, though.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
But
he's good, but he's definitely not a must-have. If you think he's a must-have, I have questions.
I mean, I don't know how many other better edges round 12 than him.
Well, the
It's
problem
fair,
with him is he's pretty much never played more than like fucking 5 or so games in a row.
Yeah, what, round 12's next week.
Fucking playing big minutes on the edge.
Round 12's next week, man.
That's
Not
fair.
5
Look,
games.
I will say a lot of his
It's one game,
downside
man.
is mitigated because he's going to be such a popular trade in this week. So, I mean, even if he goes bad, a lot of other really strong fantasy teams will have him as well. So everyone sort of shares the pain.
Yeah.
And that's probably what tilted me towards buying him.
He is
Look,
the top purchase player this year. So far, 5.73% of people have brought him in this week.
yeah, he's a good option, but I don't think you're going to ruin your season if you don't get him.
No, neither.
Next minute. Yeah, good luck to you if you death ride. You're anti-potting, Hosking. That's all I'm gonna say.
Well, he's a good player to death ride because, as far as NRL players go, he's one of the most injury prone. So that is a good death ride.
Yeah, we'll see. Jaden Campbell. You said he's got 3 bad games in a row. So when are you going to look at bringing him back in, Jay-Z?
After those 3 bad games in a
So,
row.
like, straight away? No, like, straight away?
I was waiting.
No, like you got to bring him straight back in? Like, you that's what you want to do? Like, round 14, 15?
Oh, it depends how he goes. I mean, it depends how I'm feeling on the week. I don't really plan that far ahead,
Yeah.
but what I'm thinking at the moment, look, anytime after round 13, you're probably fine. But like I said, he's got 3 really bad games where the Titans probably aren't going to score many points.
And a bye.
And a bye.
Yeah.
So yeah, but anywhere from round 13, he's probably fine. But I'm not doing it this week, and I wouldn't recommend anyone else to do it this week.
Yep.
Yes, the timing's a little bit off.
Anybody else want to talk about Bo Fermor, maybe? I think he's going to go play Origin, personally.
I reckon he will too.
I think you'd be fucking mental if you bought Bo Fermor this week.
Yeah.
But his buy schedule's fine. You don't need to trade him.
No, you can hold Bo Fermor.
No, yeah. Definite hold for sure.
Yep. I think that's it for that game. Moving on to the final game of the round. It's the Tigers and the Rabbitohs. Captaining May. I think you've all said that you're going to captain May.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can score 64 points in a game where you lose by 64 points, you're probably
that's wild,
a pretty good scorer. It is mental that he managed to score that many points in that game.
Yeah.
The amount of time he spent behind the sticks.
He done well.
Yeah.
Toa's back. If you held him, then happy with that. He's finally back in the team. Latrell Mitchell going to Origin, we assume?
Yeah, he's a lot.
Probably.
Almost certainly. If he doesn't get picked, it's you have to ask questions of the selectors.
Yep.
He showed
Who would
everyone
the
last
be
week.
if it wasn't him? He
Bradman
must be left centre.
Best.
Bradman
maybe.
Best, yeah. Bradman Best and
Tom
Turbo.
Trbojevic is an option, yeah.
Tom Trbojevic. It would be insane for them to pick Tom Trbojevic over fucking Latrell. Tom Trbojevic has been a fucking loser lately.
Yeah, I think.
Did you watch it? He looked like a piece of trash last week. Like, you couldn't even, like, if you didn't know already, like, you would have never guessed that guy used to be the man.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's Latrell's a lock. That's what I'll say. If he doesn't get picked for Origin, what's the point of watching it? You know.
Yeah, I think he's definitely going. Jairo.
Yeah, imagine them not picking like Trell or Terrell. You just be like, what's this cunt doing?
See, they keep saying like Latrell's a lock, but we all thought May was a lock.
Just avoid picking all like the best, most entertaining players just because of some weird idea you've got.
Yeah, May's got to be there.
I don't think they'll pick him for game 1. So
well,
Koloamatangi
boys at prop played 70 minutes last week.
I like him. I considered getting him this week today, but I decided that I'll wait till 13 for him.
Yep.
But I wouldn't talk anyone out of getting him. I reckon he probably will keep like a pretty big minute prop spot.
Yep.
But I just don't know for sure. So waiting to see if he gets good minutes this week and then named there again on round 13 wouldn't be the worst. His break even's like 35, so if it costs you like 20k to get that peace of mind and not have to own him over the bye, then that'd be quite good. So I'll probably just go Kautoga to him in round 13.
Yeah, I think he should be a very strong consideration for most teams if he plays like 65 to 70 minutes again.
Yep.
In come round 13, like Eddy said. Like Eddy said on Discord, actually, if he's a buy this week, he'll be a buy in round 13 and plays 15 and 18. So I mean, has that really handy dual position. But his PPM's not that good.
No, he needs the big minutes.
Nah, it's nothing special at all. No,
he needs the big minutes.
He needs that 60 plus. If he
Yeah.
comes out and plays 50 in the middle, then you don't want a bar of him.
Agreed.
You and
I
Aiken,
don't think he'll play 50 though. I think
Yeah.
it'll be more than that.
you and Aiken, we're just going to wait to see if he's got DPP in round 14, or you
No,
think you're pulling the trigger early?
I really liked him. It took me fucking a little while to decide to get Hosking over him. I think he's a good boy.
Yeah, I like him.
I'm not as high on him without the dual position, just because of the likelihood of him shifting to center on any given week.
Yeah.
But he's certainly not a bad option. If he's playing 80 on the edge, he's like a low to mid 50s player. And if he gets dual position, he'll be very popular, I imagine.
I'd
The
actually
same
like.
thing we just.
Go there,
You
mate.
go.
No, I was going to say, I'd appreciate Foul Hub coming out and just saying whether he was going to get it or not. Like, because the rule is you get named at center 3 times and you should get it. But
It's not a rule though.
It's not a rule. Yeah, it's
it's
subjective.
yeah,
It was a rule once, like
it
3
was.
years ago.
Yeah, it was a rule once, but yeah,
Hmm.
I don't know. If they
I mean,
come
I-
out
Now
and
it
said
seems
it,
to be. Now it seems to be like they just sort of do what they want.
make it up as they go.
I think he
Yeah,
should
pretty
get it.
much.
I
I
mean,
think he
he's
should get it.
played 3 games as center. He's had played half of his career at center, so why would he not have center dual position?
Yeah,
But
he should have just had started the year with it because as Scoop said on Monday, he is like the epitome of the center edge dual person. That's what he does. That's the only positions he plays.
he's more likely to play center than a Dylan Lucas is
Yep,
likely to play
100%
center.
is.
So,
So the recommendation is to wait to 14. Yeah, 13, 14.
yeah, I think all these guys.
Yeah,
Let's
if
just
you really
wait and
want
see.
to, grab him now, but like we said about Colo, if he's a buy now, then he's still going to be a
So
buy
by a
in
couple of
round
weeks. Yep. Lucky Hub. Are you guys holding, selling? What are you doing?
Yep, I'm planning on holding him all the way until after round 18.
Okay.
He's not exciting. I do think his price will slowly end up going up a bit more. I think he's got that lock spot fucking pretty stitched up. I'm finding it not super easy for middles for either round 15 or 18, and he plays both, so I'll probably just have him ticking along in my emergencies until then.
What are you doing, Jay-Z?
Yeah, I agree. You know, I just until there comes a cash out that is worthy of trading him, he's probably going to hold his price. And like Eddie said, plays 15, 18 in the middle, a position where I have one player now that I've traded in Max King. So, yeah, I can't knock him,
I
but I
think
don't hate the idea of trading.
I think some coaches are sort of caught up in what's the early season approach of like second any player's not making any money, we've got to fucking move them on to fucking someone that is, got to keep the cash going, got to keep the cash going. If you take that approach fucking from the start of the season to the finish, you will never save a single trade because there's always someone in your team that could be traded out to make someone else that's getting more cash. Is useful in other ways. So like it's easy just to sit back and hold some guys like that when they've got other uses at this point of the season. People have
Yeah,
made cash. Like that's not the be all and end all at this point. You got to remember, fantasy's not won by the person that has the most fucking cash.
agreed. And I think something to point out as well is even though he didn't score very well against the Broncos, his minutes went up because he started at lock. Played 46 minutes, and if he can get to 50, then I'm pretty confident he can average 40 points.
Make
Yeah.
a bit more money for you.
Well,
But
he's just
people
an okay emergency player, right? Like Eddie said, you don't have to trade him out. Like unless there is a mid that comes out at 230k that plays round 15 and 18 in the next couple of weeks. Like, what's the point of trading him?
people are talking about trading in Saifiti. Like, and is there really that much fucking difference between these two guys most of the time?
I
Not
don't think
really.
so. Yeah.
Yep. Good point.
Like,
If you're trading Hubner to Saifiti, you better
you're
have
an
like
idiot.
20 plus trades.
Yeah, no, that's a bad
That's
trade.
sideways.
Yeah.
Tyrrell made the other thing that is about him and making sure you captain him this week, I think, is that Pole's out, or Polo. I want to say his name.
Yeah.
So he's got a massive role this week. Royce Hunt starting at 10. He gets about 13 minutes.
Yeah, Pole's a big minute player. There's not the. I mean, May's playing 70 minutes a game anyway, but there's a pretty high chance he plays 80 minutes this week, I would imagine.
Maybe just a few more carries for him. And he's already doing 20 plus, so maybe he gets 24 instead.
He's already carrying that forward pack, and without Bole, he's truly going to have to put the team on his back.
Yeah, and it's going to be a game where he doesn't spend half of it standing under his own posts.
Well, hopefully, mate. If the Rabbits put a score on him, they're in trouble.
Yeah. I think Humphreys, keep an eye on him.
Yeah.
I wouldn't buy him as long as Latrell is in the team, but if anything happens to Latrell, he tends to get injured or suspended every single season, so probably will happen at some point.
On more than one occasion per season.
Yeah,
probably get
exactly right.
two injuries and 2 suspensions would probably be about the average.
Yeah. So if something happens to Latrell, then I'd be very tempted to just buy him straight back.
What's wrong with Tavita Totola?
Got dropped.
He's just bad form, just out of the team.
He just hasn't been good for about fucking 3 years now.
Yeah, he had a bunch of injuries and he just hasn't been the same player since he came back.
Yeah, that's right.
It's sad.
Yeah, it is. But I mean, you really can't argue with how they went about the forwards last week. Like they beat one of the best forward packs in the competition because they moved Arrow and Kalamatangi into the middle. So it's hard to see that changing.
Yeah, and I think Arrow's a huge chance of going to Origin. So
yeah, he's definitely in with a shot. I think he's probably 50-50.
He's done it before. He's been there before, and we don't exactly have the best options when it comes to prop because Collins, who's been there before, has obviously got some injury issues. Yeah.
I mean, I certainly wouldn't knock Queensland for picking him. He's a great player. I just don't know if they actually will.
All right. Anything else you want to say this week, Eddie?
No.
Hopefully launch up them ranks pretty soon, mate? You'll get there. I've got faith in you. Jay-Z, anything for you, mate?
It'd be nice to take a 0 off the rank.
Yeah, back to 4
I
digits.
I think we should at least mention the Penrith players. Obviously, there's only 2 real relevant ones, maybe 3 if you count Jenkins. Do either of you have Yo?
No.
No.
Right. So I've spoken about it sort of throughout the pod, but I'm an advocate for holding Cleary unless you're particularly low on cash, and trades as well.
Most people are. Only 3% of teams have traded out Cleary so far.
Yeah, which is interesting.
So I know you said you thought that the consensus was to trade Cleary. Nah, that's definitely not the consensus. It's what 3% of his owners have done.
No, that's fair, and I think he's owned by like 99% of teams in the top 1,000. So
yeah, Yo's more people trade out Yo than trade out Cleary.
I'd trade out Yo. If I had Yo, I'd trade him out for sure.
Thing with me is I'm getting low on trades. I don't own Cleary or Haas, so if I sell Cleary, that means after the buys, I have to somehow figure out how the fuck to fucking get Cleary and Haas into my team. And to do that, I'll probably have to burn like 5 fucking trades out of my 8. And okay, sweet, that's 5 of the last 8 gone.
Yeah.
Like that ain't gonna work.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think, and Bryce is something you probably need to look at as well, since you're trading him out. Is you've got to be able to get him back in. Like it's all well and good using his money to upgrade other players, but you need to find that money again to get him back.
Yeah, and from that final 8 trades, like you don't want fucking 2 or 3 of those trades being like fucking cashing a guy or 2 down to have enough money to upgrade some other guy to Cleary. Like those last 8 trades fucking disappear like that.
They need to be for injury emergencies, man.
Exactly.
Exactly right. Like I
but you're going to use them getting Cleary back.
Yeah.
Well, no, because
I know I've said this.
I still got 20 trades like coming into this week. 19 trades, sorry, coming into this week. So
I hear people say that every year, bro, and it always ends up fucking difficult
Yeah.
towards the end.
Yeah,
Never
exactly right.
underestimate how many injuries and things. Like, there has been no year that I can remember where it was trades were just sweet as easy.
I think it was maybe one, but the last year, if I had one more trade, I would have won the whole thing. So
That's
trades are
always
important.
fucking how it goes.
Trades are very
No
important.
matter how good you think you've got it fucking planned out, fucking you always end up being fucking 2 trades less than what you needed.
Yeah, I mean, we've already sort of learnt from the last few weeks, right? Like we all banked on Jacob Preston being there in round 12 and 15, gone for 4
Couchman and
weeks.
yada yada.
Couchman, gone, yeah. Like, and there'll be more. I mean, it wouldn't
And
surprise me if fucking 3
that
of my players get injured this week, you know?
that period from round 20 to round 27 is always fucking heaps of injuries.
Straight carnage. Yeah, I think we
Fucking
lost like
heaps.
Murray and Haas and Cleary. So, yeah, at that
And
point,
King,
it's more important that you have trades than money. So, yeah.
yep.
Food for thought. Good luck on the weekend, fellas. Good luck, JZ. I reckon you're gonna hopefully hold your rank, if not increase it, mate. How far off number 1 are you?
Like 150 odd points, maybe a
Yeah.
little more.
Yep.
But close enough. Look, at this stage last year, I think I was 90th and I finished 4th with
Yep.
way less money and way less trades. So I'm quietly confident in having a run at the end of this season.
I feel like I've been in Czech actually for years, and I feel like fucking this is one of the most sort of serious you've taken the buys. I feel like last year you weren't taking the buys as serious as you're taking them this year.
No, definitely not. I'd sort of made a last minute decision to actually field 13 players every buy round last year. So I definitely am putting in a bit more effort. I mean, I came very close last year and it's sort of left a sour taste in my mouth. So I want to do everything I can to try and win it, you know. So
Well, the problem is once you've flown that high up the fucking mountain, it sort of kills everything. Like, because once you've been 4th, like, you can go out and get like a 300th, which most people would be psyched with, but you can't really be happy with it because it's like heaps shitter than you've been before. So there's no excitement. You've got to chase the top spots fucking now.
yeah, exactly right. But that's how I feel. Like I think if I were to
Anything outside
finish,
of anything
yeah,
outside of top 100, fucking from now on is going to be like, oh, whatever.
yeah, pretty much.
But which is why I'm in such a tough spot now. Now I've got to live with being proper shit.
You'll be right, Eddie. You'll come back from 13k or wherever you're sitting right now, mate. You'll be right up there. You'll come back.
You like reminding people how far out it is.
Shh, stop. Mate, I lost 1,500 ranks last week because I fielded 16 players and Eddie beat me by 10.
Bro, my name came up on the podcast like 5 different times the other week of fucking people giving me drive-bys.
It's all love, brother. It's all love. All right. I think that's about it, fellas. Thanks for listening tonight. Another really quick podcast that went for 90 minutes, so seems to be our average. Thanks for listening, people. Talk to you soon.
Cheer the fucking boys. Fuck Adrian Buttery.